Hello, hello, hello. You all should be able to hear me. You make sure. Throw a one in the chat if you all can hear me. Let me see. Audio. If you all can hear me, throw a one in the chat if you all don't mind. If you all do not mind, throw a one in the chat. What does the audio sound like? What does it sound like? Throw a one in the chat if you all can hear me. Throw a one in the chat if you all can hear me. Let me check on my phone. Let me check on my phone as well. Turn this down. Okay, looks like it says I went live. Okay, I'm seeing a couple of comments. Okay, Akin, welcome. Justin Williams, welcome. Ayo, welcome. I don't know if you all can see, but some stuff has changed over here. Professor Black Ops, welcome. Yeah, thanks for the congrats for the 4K. I just want to say thank you to you all, right? You all are the ones who got me to 4K subscribers. That is dope. I'm very excited and happy about that. And I just want to thank you all for being here with just a quick clap first. Thank you all for being here. And also, if you notice something else, I've been monetized. I just got monetized. It took a while because they were like reviewing my chat and reviewing my my channel, because at times when people do cybersecurity content, it can be an issue because they don't want you to put out any like hacking tools or something. There was some policies or things that came through a little while ago. Maddox, welcome. He says, hello team. Yo, welcome to the chat, man. Welcome to the chat. Okay. Got a good amount of people in here. Let's go ahead and start it. Let me go ahead and do the intro video and we are ready to go. Oh, hello, and welcome to Struggle Security, where we are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. When I say normalizing, I'm talking about really making it okay to struggle, right? You can struggle from one point to another point. It's fine. That's cool to do. But the thing is that we don't want you to stay there. So on this channel, one thing that I do is that I go over different things that people can do to alleviate some of those struggles. My content is mainly for people who are entry level or transitioning into cybersecurity or are brand new career tech professional. A lot of my content is focused towards that, but it's also for those who are seasoned, right? Also for those who are seasoned a bit. Sometimes it can remind you of things to do in your career. It can remind you of things that you've already done. And it can also kind of affirm some of the things and decisions that you have already done. And feel free anytime for those experienced, seasoned professionals to put your input every single time into the comment section and into the chat. One thing that we have here is that one thing I do are these live streams. In addition to the pre-recorded content, is for my ability to interact with my audience, interact with the individuals who watch this content. And I thank you all for being here. But if you all have any questions, concerns, anything, feel free to put it there in the chat. And the thing that we're talking about today is maximizing our impact. Hold up, let me edit that. I didn't put that in right. Maximizing hold up. I gotta impact in our. I'm having scrolling towards at the bottom. Maximizing impact in our tech careers. Maximizing impact in our tech careers. What do I mean by that? And welcome, Free Zone Lou. Thank you for being here, man. Give a clap to you and somebody else had just joined the chat. To yourself, and I think Maddox had joined. So give a hand. Thank you all for coming through. So let me give a little bit of the backdrop to this topic. I frequent a lot of places on YouTube, and YouTube is a cool place, but you run into a lot of different individuals on different panels, in different chats, in different conversation arenas. It's just interesting. And One thing that I find a lot of times is that there are tech professionals everywhere. First and foremost, there are tech professionals everywhere in every different type of industry doing all different types of content. But I don't think that all tech professionals are the same across the board. And I think that sometimes, so let me just get a backstory. I ran into a young man who had been talking about transitioning into a tech career for, I mean, it has to be probably more than a year now, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? It's dope. It's dope that he's trying to get into a tech career. I think he was talking about SQL and Amazon Web Services with cloud technologies. But I think the problem that I find is that when there's, so he'll say things like, hey, I'm studying and I'm going to work towards this thing or work towards that thing. And I'm trying to build up my experience here or there, which is nothing wrong with that. But every time there's a conversation about something outside of his goals, his tech impact, he's willing and ready to what you call crash out. He's really ready to crash out on every topic, but what he's building towards. I mean, it's even to the point where this young man, he's in college, and he says that his finals are in 2 weeks. His finals are in 2 weeks, and he's jumping on panels talking about things that have nothing to do with his finals, things that have nothing to do. And, you know, I'm not trying to, you know, prioritize or seep into people's lives, personal lives, and trying to control anything. But at the same time, I'm like, yo, I'm somebody like it's very difficult to hear people say what their goals and desires and where they're looking at going with it, a successful, high value person. But at the same time, when these ratchet and crazy conversations are happening, you're the first person to jump up in there. And, you know, it's not again, everybody can choose what they want to do in their lives, in their careers. We can all prioritize our lives in any way that we desire. So it's not me policing that, but it is at the same time when you put it out there, you know, you leave it up for criticism. When you put it out there that, hey, I'm moving towards this thing, I'm moving towards that thing, and a year later you haven't moved towards that thing, it kind of makes people call those things into question. When you say that you're looking to get these credentials or if you've acquired these credentials, and then you say, oh, well, I've gotten that credential, but I'm not going to do anything with it. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? What positive impact has that had on your tech career? Nothing. So, you know, that's kind of a little bit here, right? That's kind of a little bit of the backstory. Some of the people here know what I'm talking about. Friezo Lou know what I'm talking about. Death Racer, welcome to the chat, man. He definitely know what I'm talking about. Professor Black Ops, listen, he right in there. He knows, he was privy to that conversation. It shows incongruency, right? It can be incongruent at times. And again, it is not bad that people choose different, you know, little guilty pleasures. They dib and dab into different conversations that aren't necessarily tech, because we're tech professionals, but we're not just going to be talking about tech everywhere that we go. But at the same time, if you haven't met those tech goals, but you're talking about everything else, that could be a problem. That kind of puts you in a position, kind of put you in a position.
Kind of struggling a little bit.
It's just kind of struggling. Like, you struggling towards your goals, but you're not prioritizing the goals that would create the most impact in your tech career. You
kind of struggling a little bit.
Listen, I'm not, and again, I'm not YouTube or internet policing anybody. We can do whatever we want to do with our lives. But at the same time, if there are inconsistencies that you are putting out there, then it leaves it up for criticism. So, kind of get into the real subject. So that's a little bit of the backstory. But I kind of want to get into some things for us to be able to measure our impact within our tech careers. Right? We know that, you know, there's individuals who might do all types of things and might prioritize things where it's not really creating impact in their tech lives or tech careers. But I want to get into some things and some advice that I've seen and I've found that has been valuable to me as I've been able to progress and move up and around in my career. Ayo said, I just want to land a sock row and then I can take it from there. Absolutely. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of times when you get that first tech or that cybersecurity role, it's almost rinse and repeat from there. Yeah, still working on nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that, Ayo. Absolutely. Hey, welcome, Gonzo. Welcome to the chat, man. Yeah, welcome to the chat. Ayo and Gonzo, you all get one of these. Welcome to the chat. that's a little bit of the backstory on it, but want to start off here because I made a little bit of a list, and we can get into a couple of things here. The first piece of advice or tip or thing that I found that has been valuable is you need to look at where you are currently at. You need to look at where you're currently at. And I actually, man, I'll go ahead and drop the link in the event that somebody wants to come up. And feel free, like if you feel like I'm saying something wrong, or if you just want to add to the conversation here, I'm gonna go ahead and put this link in the chat. Come on up. Put this link in the chat in the event that you all want to also add in here to the conversation. So there you go. Professor Black Ops says young people get distracted sometimes, lacking a little focus. He's hitting. I think so too. And that's and that's why I really like Professor Black Ops being here, because he Professor Black Ops is here.
I can't help myself. Go ahead.
He rounds it all out for me, right? Because I could be at times a little bit tunnel vision, like, why are you here if you aren't where you desire to be? But at the same time, I think a little bit of focus to get us in the right direction. Everybody in the right direction. You got something to put on that before I get into the first one?
Yeah, just real quick. You're right on, but you got to remember, he's 22. Testosterone.
No. He's 30.
Still though, I'm gonna give him a break, man. 30. Okay. You right there. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I guess I'm giving him a little more grace because he's getting the certs. I kind of agree with you. I think we need to put him in action, but we both know those skills gonna stack, so he could use them in other areas when he gets there. So I think he's headed in pretty much the right direction. Once again, I agree with you. It's probably 20%, dude. Like you said, it's 2 weeks for a final. Why y'all crashing out, man? You need to be studying, home. But
2 weeks before a final, I'm not talking to nobody.
But maybe he's taking a break. Maybe he did a 10-hour study. I'm trying to give him a little ball, and he just need a little break. And he gonna get back at it. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and go down.
I'm not mad at it.
No.
I'm not mad at it though. I'm not mad at it. And again, that's why I don't want to make it about policing, but I do at the same time. I'm like, okay, I don't know if that's necessarily the formula for everybody, right? So you kind of go from subject to subject to subject that has nothing to do with where you're saying that you desire to go, but it's cool. It's cool. Thank you for the balance. But go ahead.
Well, what you brought up too is, and I think that's it. And as I get older, I figure it out. Hopefully he's there and you there too is you figure out what's best for you when you study. And I need a break, or I need to do 10 hours. I'm more of a live guy than a read guy. So hopefully as he gets in the 30s, I kind of know exactly how I need to study, how I get it. But I'm 55, man. I'm old as shit. So I'm just going to throw him that ball too. Go ahead.
You're just not playing with it. Right. So I think the first one I wanted to go over is in really evaluating how to create impact in your tech career is looking at where you at. Like, where are you currently? So I know that there was several years ago when I was looking at where I was, when I was transitioning to cybersecurity. I'm like, so I got this background in all this math and electrical engineering stuff. And I'm like, I got to evaluate where my gaps are. So I recognized that it was like networking and network administration. And I was having an issue really filling that gap because I was kind of doing all the other stuff. I'm like looking at pen testing stuff. I'm like looking at reverse engineering and forensics. And I don't even have my networking down pat. So I think that that's one of the first things to do is see where you are in your skill gap, and do kind of like a gap analysis and a gap assessment. Have you had similar experience about like, okay, I'm lacking here. This is where I might need to increase that or fill in some of those gaps. What do you think? I think you're muted.
No, you're right. No,
okay.
I'm muting myself.
Okay, gotcha.
You're right, but the thing I think people do is they don't evaluate themselves correctly. I think a lot of people really want to put themselves higher than what there is, right?
Yep.
So you need to be realistic. And two is, and you do it a lot of times, when you read through job descriptions, it kind of tells you what you're lacking because they say, okay, I ain't got that, I ain't got that, and I ain't got that. If you see that on multiple jobs you're trying to get, that's your gap, right? It
I'm telling you, yeah.
So, but two is, I'm just kind of old enough, and like I've been in the game, so like you was like, okay, I got to get a little better at networking. I don't need to be a Cisco CNA, but part of cybersecurity is packet control, subnets, being able to configure firewalls, right? To figure out where your traffic goes and controls it, you need to understand basic networking. And that's probably one of the weakest part of my games, but that's one of the, and two is you need to understand what you need for your basic foundation in cybersecurity, red team, blue team, what that is for your personal career and where you want to go.
Right. And I think that's very applicable there, right? I was going to bring up the thing about the job descriptions, because that can really help you to understand where you are. So many of us, we might have an idea of what like the dream role is for us. We might want to be a staff engineer. We might want to be a software application engineer. We might want to be a chief information security officer, or we might want to be a risk assessment or chief risk officer. But when we look at the job descriptions and when we look at the experience and the description that we have for ourselves, I think that helps to really give us a more of an understanding and idea where we are. So I want to kind of do like a little activity and jump on LinkedIn. I want to jump on LinkedIn really quickly. And then I want us to kind of, well, at least this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at a couple of job roles, and I'm going to just identify where some of my gaps are. I'm going to identify where some of my gaps are. So I've previously, here, let me go ahead and take this off so we'll be able to see it. So I've previously interviewed with Tesla some years ago. Now I know that the Elon Musk companies, they have different, you know how it is now. They don't have a rep as they used to have. I don't know if you've seen that, Professor Blackhouse, but they don't have the best rap anymore. Not just from the Twitter stuff, but even from other things too. So this is one role that I see. So it says that I'm kind of matched here. It's a staff security engineer for energy software, and I've never heard of that. I've never seen this. But when I'm looking at this, it's given some things here. The Tesla staff or whatever engineer. Let me zoom in a little bit more too, so everybody can see it. It's saying here, and call out anything that you like. Okay, you need to have that in order to get this role or something, right? Development operation. I'm seeing a gap that I already have. So the Tesla's energy software team is responsible for developing and operating the cloud services that support Tesla's energy products for power generation, energy storage, vehicle charging, and grid services. Now it's talking about all of these different services: power walls, solar roof. This looks like a cool little role. Right? Virtual power plants, auto bidder, energy market participation. So these are some of the responsibilities that I'm seeing here. And then welcome, Wire Dog. Thank you for coming through, man. For sure. So it says designing and developing and maintaining operate distributed software systems and incorporate real-time and streaming data for monitoring. I don't have that experience, PBO. I don't know. I don't have that type of experience exactly. So I'm recognizing a gap here. So probably something I would do here, I would take this and copy and paste this to somewhere and really try to understand what some of these keywords mean. I'm seeing that they want experience with information security, product security, red teaming. All right, I have some of that. They also want to improve through. They got a lot going on here. Identify opportunities to improve cybersecurity through regular operations and instant response processes. Got a little bit of that. But then going down here, these are some things that I'm really recognizing that I don't have a whole bunch of experience. Well, maybe. I see IoT, OT, ICS. Maybe I could apply for this role. But I don't have software development experience, particularly infrastructure. I don't have that. And cloud services. So for somebody like myself, right? Like I'm looking at this, or if you're looking at this and you're interested in this role, I would say do this for yourself. Look at some of those roles, look at some of that experience, and start to align where you align with those job roles and where you don't. Right? You got anything to put on that, Professor Blackout?
No, like I said, I think you did it right. Looking for those gaps, and two is what do you need to fill those in, but two is that's super specialized.
very specialized.
So for me, I always say is 50% of the jobs you see is for somebody internal already. And a lot of corporations, because they got to post them, right? So to me, that sounds like they got an engineer in Tesla in mind that they want to get that spot, and they got to post it. But like I said, I could be reaching because those are super specific skill sets.
Very specific.
And they're specific in different genres. You got red team development, a little blue team. Then you got the whole solar panel. Who gonna have that unless you work at Tesla?
Right. And I think Wire Dog is bringing up some good points. He says he sees if he can fit 70 to 80% of the requirements, right? And he also said that if you get an interview, that he will focus on his strengths and emphasize what his strengths are. So making those. So I think that if I was doing this right, I would emphasize kind of like my IoT, OT, ICS experience and some of these frameworks, incident response and red teaming. But that development stuff, like I haven't done specific software development, right? That's a gap that if I was going for this role, that's something that I would need to evaluate to say, okay, I know that I'm trying to get here. I'm trying to work for Tesla, or I'm trying to work in this particular role. I need to, in some ways, say like, hey, I don't really have that type of experience. I need to kind of try to bridge the gap in some way there.
Yeah, but if you scroll down a little bit.
Yep.
They go from software development, GDPR. You all in the privacy and SIP, that's privacy too. So how are you going from privacy to software development to red team? That's a huge.
There are a lot. It's a lot here.
Yeah, to me, you just a staff security engineer. Hell, that should be the manager, man. That is broad.
They're looking for
at it rare.
Very specialized individual here. Very specialized individual. And welcome, Clyde, and welcome before the billions. I just want to say what up to y'all as y'all are coming here. But yeah, very, very, very specialized. Wire Dog says many times companies will realize the gap and work with you on the job trade. Yeah. But you know, I don't know. But so a lot of times these are prioritized too. When you first thing at the top, that's really what they want mainly. Or the first responsibilities, this is what you'll be doing as your primary role. So if you see like the top thing and you have a gap there, you might want to in some way look to kind of bridge that gap. And that's when you're getting back to labbing. You get back to studying. You're looking, so you might look at developing and maintaining the software of distributed systems, right? For IoT and real time. So this is like RTOS, real time operating systems. You might need to look into that a bit more. So at least you can speak to it, even if you don't have a strong background in it. But at the same time, you can't do that if you're on panels all the time.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
It becomes difficult when you're on these panels and you really try to understand what your skill gaps are.
It was only a couple hours, Gabe. I'm gonna help him out. It was only
all right. I'm back away.
Real quick though, as an AWS guy and a fanboy AWS has Green Tree that does security with IoT. You can do that for free and ramp up with your cloud security if you want to do that for streaming. But that's still a rare skill set. Even if reading it, I read it, but I've never done IoT because that's streaming. You got to spin up. Now you're really talking about 5G because usually when you're doing IoT, it's wireless. So that's a whole different ball game. So that makes me think they're looking for it for somebody already at their company. But I'm just guessing on that.
So how about this? Do you have another role that you think might be more applicable, that might be more broad that I can look up, that we could take a look at?
Me?
No, I'm just saying, like, do you want me to look at a specific one? Because this is very specialized. I just put in something that people might consider like a dream role.
Dude, everybody's hot on DevSecOps. It's super hard.
DevSecOps.
Yeah. Shout out to women in Linux. That's DevSecOps.
DevSecOps. I would say a DevSec. Yeah, I'd just say DevSecOps.
Yeah, this is DevOps with the security piece in there. So everybody's trying to get in that part of security that's inside the cloud, right? So you DevOps and you're doing security, right?
I'm looking for a specific one. Okay, maybe this at Apple. I'm just thinking like dream jobs that people.
No, I'll you Apple. Apple's definitely dream job, man. You get them
so
stock
this is kind of like a socket. Yeah, that's a fact because they don't. I think they're the only ones who haven't really suffered as bad as the other tech companies. Is that what you've seen too?
Yeah, that's what I've seen.
Okay. Yeah. So the SOC engineer platform architecture. So that's kind of towards that DevSecOps. I bet you it's in here somewhere.
Yeah, it's in
there. Let's see. We're looking for an experienced cybersecurity. So they're looking for an experienced cybersecurity engineer, spanning both hardware and software. So that's key. You got to be on the hardware and software side here. Work with multifunctional engineering team to define, design, and verify security systems. they're looking for a lot here, right? A BS and 10 years of relevant industry experience.
Let me
Solid.
real quick in there. And that's what we talk about. We know certs is good. We know certs it's gonna get you in the door. But when you're trying to get to this level, they're looking for bachelors. I'm surprised. It's gonna be masters optional at the bottom, probably. But go ahead. So we just want you to keep on your educational background and don't settle.
That's true. A lot of times people are saying that, hey, degrees aren't that important, but when you get to these type of levels or these type of, a lot of organizations are still requiring degrees. I'll just say that.
Right. Real quick is, I think what they're doing for the entry level, I think they were using degrees as a gatekeeper when you get a cert. But as you climb the ladder, this is a dream job. Like you trying to be directors, that's what people doing, because you're in competition. Entry level, we trying to find 30 people. There's going to be one CISO, a couple VPs. I mean, you're working those companies, practice managers. Those dudes are rare because you're in competition.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I absolutely agree. Here, I'm gonna hit some of these in the chat. Yeah, you can throw your questions, Celestial Armor. I do have my email there within the about section of the channel, so you can throw it in the email if you don't want to put it in the chat. But feel free to throw it there. Stop and adjust. Think for a second. How can I get my foot in the door? Start. I'm actually doing a video on that next. My next video is going to be like talking about like starting from absolutely nothing. Yeah. When you're going from nothing, no type of experience, and I'm going to give maybe like 3 or 4 different tips on the ways to jump in. So look out for that video, man. Definitely look out for the video. Aaron, welcome. So let's do the specific question. Oh, okay. B2B, you said they laid off a ton of people. Yeah, man. Tech is kind of struggling, man. And they also have a hiring freeze. It could be difficult now. It could be difficult. And we're going to get into some of that too.
My company laid off too. My bad. My company laid off.
Really?
Too. Mm-hmm.
Mine too, man. Like they just laid off 19,000 people from Accenture, man. So
that's true.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, we'll talk about it. But they go into specifics as it concerns who they laid off and why they laid them off. But we'll definitely talk about it. But AO is right. There's Network Plus, Security Plus, A Plus, Active Directory Labs. I think those are very good starting points for sure.
Yeah, that's the trifecta you need to get, especially if you're trying to get your foot in the door. Those are the basics. Absolutely. Especially if you're trying to get into security. Those are definitely the basics.
Absolutely. Here, so back to this job description, you're seeing a lot here. You're seeing 10 plus bachelor's degree, bachelor's of science, 10 plus years of relevant industry experience, solid solid background in applied cryptography.
Nah, I don't even got that, man.
Who has that?
I said I don't even have that.
No, I'm saying, not only you don't have it, I don't have it. I know one person who has a master's in applied cryptography from I think he went to Stanford or somewhere. I know one person is in security. There might be more, but that's a bit niche. That's a bit niche there.
I don't even know how many schools have cryptography now, you might get a little bit in math, right? Because it's computation at the math level. But to specifically name cryptography, that is super rare.
I have not seen he said solid. And that's the second thing that they have here. Okay. Working experience in definition of secure systems. That's okay. Experience in threat modeling and weakness and that. Okay, that's cool.
I got that.
Yeah,
it's funny. A friend of mine worked for Capgemini. He said he was looking for a threat modeler. He said those dudes are rare. I'm trying to think.
Really?
I've only done it a couple times because from a compliance issue now, NIST says you got to have a threat model. So I looked up Stride from Microsoft and a couple of Stride did one, but I don't think it's common unless you work for a huge company dealing with other huge companies. Most small companies don't do threat modeling.
Yeah, that's true. Let's talk about that for a second with threat modeling. That's kind of like an undervalued service because many times what we would do is that we would do threat modeling before we would do a penetration test or a security assessment, because that'll make you focus in on where the threat vectors, and that's really what threat modeling is. Is looking at what your business logic is, where your most critical systems are, where the impact to your organization will be the most for your digital systems. From a security perspective, mapping all those out, kind of sitting down with all the internal stakeholders, really talking to these people like, okay, if this went down, what would happen? If somebody messed with this application server, would that impact what you do from a daily basis? And then you can kind of start to map out some attack vectors, whether it's like phishing emails, whether it's USB drives, whether it's anything else, right? Malicious software get into your environments. What type of protections do you have against those? And then you kind of like jumble all that up together and you form that into different recommendations. You form that into kind of like what we would do. We would be like, we would take that and make that into our scoping for our red team or pen test engagement, because we like, thank you. So that'd be more like a white box pen test, really. Right. So yeah.
But the crazy part is, because you work for big companies that are mature, is I do that for middle companies, and I did what you did. I said, "What's your tax directors?" They said, "We paid you to do that." So what I did is I took the OWASP top 10, right? Okay. They had a website. Then Verizon comes out with their top attacks over the year. So I use that to figure out the most popular attacks. You a MITRE guy, they usually have their top 10. So I said, for your architecture, your website, they were doing some SFTP. These are the normal attacks coming from these. Well, so then I had to come up with their modeling, because they don't even know how to start half the time. Yeah.
That's very, very true. Sometimes I've even started from, let me tell you one thing I had did for a customer, and it kind of shocked them just a little bit. It wasn't nothing crazy. Here, I'm gonna throw my email. This is I'm gonna say this is my email for Celestial Armor. I just threw my email in the chat. But I would do some OSINT. I would do just a little bit light touch OSINT, whether like some Googling other organization, maybe go on Shodan and look for some cloud infrastructure that might be exposed to the internet. And I'm like, I remember I was dealing with like a hospital organization, and they had all types of S-word buckets that were just exposed to the internet. There were like research labs. I was even seeing administrator login pages and everything. And I'm like, did you all know that this was here? So I have all this in a slide deck. It's like, oh, we didn't know that. Yeah, we didn't know that. So that'll be added to a potential attack vector that they didn't know. So sometimes you can kind of find some stuff even before you engage. So yeah, man.
Then the two things, and people don't realize this, and we're gonna do it when we go back to Indeed, is people put their architecture in their job description. I'm looking for Oracle, and they give 7.2.2.2. I'm like, okay, I can look up the CVEs for that, right? I'm looking for Tomcat, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking. Then the other thing is, people website, just do QualSys free page. Just gonna give them a grade. And very few people get an A. Then they tell you, oh, let's open up the Heartbleed, Poodle. Yeah. And I'm not even a red team guy. So that's just even basic vulnerability assessments will definitely help to open up what some of those potential attack vectors are. And then they can, and that's the thing, like having that sit down workshop with the stakeholders or the people for the organization, they'll be able to know what's on the other side of that website, what's on the other side of that login page. They can let you know that. But kind of to some of the comments here, Wire Dog said marketing is full. Folk getting laid off like crazy. That's very, very true. I'm gonna do something real quick. Shout out to Wire Dog. Sure. Go subscribe to him. He young, trying to come up with 100 users. So let's support little young Wire Dog. He be on my channel. I think I got him from you though. Thanks,
Wire Dog is dope. I look at his content all the time. I think he's doing some try hacking stuff. I'm gonna share some of his stuff later. So go check out my young man Wire Dog. We want to get him up there, man. Get him a little barbecue like me on the weekends, man. Some YouTube sense. I'm gonna put Wire Dog's channel. I'm putting into the chat right now, and you all go ahead and subscribe. Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for the shout out, man. Definitely appreciate that. And then AO mentions cryptography. Okay, WGU has
shout out to WGU, man.
Man.
I'm pushing them up on the list, man.
Yeah. And Free Zone Lou said, I'm looking out for the starting from zero as well. This tech world is so big, and I think I stay to research, I get lost. Yeah, it is difficult. I need a straight path. Yeah. And that's that's kind of what I try to do a lot of times. Sometimes I get lost in kind of like the cool stuff with the cybersecurity, but like really the foundational stuff, like what is cybersecurity? What is the CIA triad? What are some of the foundations to the field? Like, I think that can really help out a lot of people. So I'm really trying to focus in on that. But I'm sorry, PBO, you gonna say something?
No, I'm there with you. I think, and like you were giving advice for, is you gotta pick something and go for it. You can't. There's a lot of shiny objects in IT, especially cybersecurity. Red Team now, we on ChatGPT, and what was that thing?
Bart,
Prompt engineering.
prompt engineering.
You know,
Yeah,
there's always a shiny thing, but you need to get, like you said, pick some focus and get to it, because you can always get distracted. Once you get in a place and
distractions
get
are
the
easy.
job, then you can get new skills, but you need to stay focused. Because if you keep jumping, you're never going to get your understanding and master the skill set, right? You really want to be trying SME or getting a SME level so you can get the bag and get to 6 figures. But if you keep jumping to different things, you're never going to get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So then looking at what Aaron is saying, Aaron B, welcome. You said I couldn't get a tech design job at Accenture. Yeah, it could be difficult. You kind of gotta, I think the best way is either if they reach out to you, or if you have an internal reference or an internal referral. So if you know somebody who worked there, just reach out to somebody on Accenture or on LinkedIn. They can internally refer you. A couple of people just started getting interviews now from people I referred to like late last year. So sometimes it can take a while too. So
those big companies. I got a couple people at Capgemini, and they take forever, even with references. So
they take forever. Like you almost got to talk to the recruiter or have to talk to the hiring manager directly. Yeah, Stride, Dread, etc. Yeah, those are definitely those frameworks for threat modeling. Yeah,
but like we said, I don't see a lot of companies doing it embedded in their process. Maybe you see
it's almost like a tack-on service, like threat modeling and tabletops and like light vulnerability. It's like a packet analysis. Those kind of come all in the same type of sphere of professional services.
Yeah, you about to get somebody, but when you do NIST and federal work, they ask for those artifacts and those products. So in this, you got to do a threat modeling. In this, you got to do incident response. You got to practice every year. That's why I tell shout out there, because I'm an IT auditing. That's part of the job I do.
There we go.
To CISA. So when you get at that level, then you start doing these type of art. The crazy thing though is I don't even touch computers anymore. I end up doing more paperwork than anything. Because when you really talk about DRIT, that's all paperwork. When you talk about IT auditing, it's all paperwork. I tell them to Gabe hates it. I tell them to put the STIGs on and I scan them. I don't put them on.
Here we go. Here we go with these STIGs again. Here we go with these.
I love them STIGs.
What are we gonna do with this guy? We're gonna do with this STIG guy.
I'm old, man. I'm old.
No, you're fine.
But hey, Ken, if you needed some more, just put them in the chat. I got IT auditing. I think is a hidden gem because it's really under GRC. You don't have to be super technical. You need to understand it. But a lot of times I'm going to talk to people like Gabe because he's the director. I'm going to talk to the DBAs. I'm going to talk to the programmers. I'm going to ask them, did they do these checks? Did you apply this? Shout out to the Cisco guys. There's 300 checks for a Cisco router. So all that's part of auditing, right? So
100%.
Hidden gem.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's exactly what he was talking about. And then someone mentioned blockchain to be that's something. So I don't think.
Keep going.
Yeah, it's kind of like a shiny object, right? Because it's interesting because blockchain and crypto and even like kind of cloud was kind of happening in cloud and AI. Those are kind of happening during the same time when they were talking about these fourth industrial revolution technologies, and pretty much cloud just went crazy. And more recently, artificial intelligence is starting to be utilized within commercial and business cases. So, but a lot of the blockchain it's not heavily adopted within organizations yet. So I would say maybe hold off on that one. But it's interesting to think about and to know about. Yeah, absolutely. Feel free.
Yeah, blockchain.
Anytime, Wardon.
Yeah, like blockchain, right? It has a specific niche. If you're doing a smart contract, and for auditing, you don't write over that and you don't update. You create another node, so it has a very specific niche for business. But I think it was everybody's hammer for a minute with that blockchain. And two is ChatGPT. So that's going to be the new blockchain over the next 18 months. Is if you're not doing some kind of artificial intelligence or machine learning, you're going to be left behind. All those dudes are making $1 million. So I think that's the new shiny object.
And I've been seeing that. I'm actually this week, and the reason why I really haven't been able to stream up is because I've been super busy with like just a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm leading out in a red team, purple team training engagement, like a large scale, and they want us to incorporate ChatGPT as a use case. in order for us to develop different attack methods and utilize that for content development. So we want to kind of infuse all of that. And it is a monster. So we've been scoping out a lot of this type of work and everything. So, but it's supposed to be starting up, and it's going to be in LA. So it's going to be crazy, man. It's going to be crazy. But yeah, so a lot of organizations are starting to request that type of stuff. They're starting to request the utilization of artificial intelligence into some of these professional services.
But the crazy thing though to me is, and once again, it's a shiny object. Yeah. Most large companies and federal companies is, you put company information in ChatGPT, you gonna get fired. Because I just did a video, it was leaking, it was doing spillage. So what's the difference between a breach and a spillage? My information went over to Gabe, so it didn't get breached, but it spilled over to Gabe, so now he can see my proprietary information. They created a patch for ChatGPT's in beta. They released it in beta. People don't realize that it's really not ready. It's
not ready for commercial uses,
right? So most companies are like, do not put corporate information in ChatGPT. But so why are you requesting you to put that in a red team?
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is more of like methods and content development. So say, for instance, you're trying to have it write something for like a buffer overflow type of attack. So you might say what the operating system is. You might say what the kernel is. You might say some different information, and you would have ChatGPT to write what that is. Now, it's not proprietary. You can perform that on any type of device with that operating system and those specs. So, you know, it can help to, I keep saying this, I think it's a force multiplier. It allows you to do more technical things faster. It allows you to not have to memorize commands. Like I had it write me a Python program in order to parse a packet capture for sensitive information. Things like so it was using, so I had to make all types of it used, what is this called? Regular expressions in order to identify social security numbers, telephone numbers, emails. So it'll pull all those strings out. So it's pretty much using strings, right? It's pulling all those strings out using the regular expressions to say, hey, this is the information. And all I'm doing is scrolling. All I'm doing is scrolling. So that I'm finding these strings and I'm able to parse it out of the PCAP just from using that Python program. So like, it's not like sensitive information being put in there, but I do think it does allow me to do more things faster. Because if I was trying to write it, I got to figure out the libraries, I got to figure out the logic and all the loops and everything, when that's not even really necessary for me to do that. ChatGPT and artificial intelligence allow me to do it faster. Sorry, I don't mean to jump down that rabbit hole, but that's kind of my perspective, at least.
And you know, I used to make all my money doing regular express, like you said, most people don't want to mess with. But I think that's one thing ChatGPT is good at, and you brought up, it's actually doing red team tests for you, like you said, because that's what people would do that, and you don't have to manually do that. It can give you that code. And the other thing is doing is, if other people try that, you already have that script in your bag to make sure nobody can run that on you and take your stuff, right? Because you can do it to hack and catch BCAP. So you can have it do those red team tests and write those for you. And I think,
and then sometimes you'll come into an environment. True. No, I was gonna say, and sometimes you come into an environment and you only have a small subset of tools that you can use. A lot of times, only native tools. So you might not be able to use like I don't know, remote services like RDP or something. But Windows has all types of internal tools. Like if you're looking at for it to develop a PowerShell script to be able to enumerate all of the active or the domain admins in the environment, it'll just spit out a PowerShell script to do that for you for administration. But that can help you in the red team or penetration test. So, you know, I just say that to say, man, I'm using the crap out of that thing. I'm using the best.
And the cool thing is what Gabe said is your sim should be catching that. If somebody's iterating sequentially to your domain, at worst, your sim should send an email. Really, your sim should be blocking that. It's like that IP, right? So you can do both ways, right? You can do preventative or catching on the back in your logs. And once again, those are those red team test cases. As you get more mature as an organization, you need to be catching.
Very true. And AO is mentioning about some of the stuff that WireDog is doing. And again, this is WireDog's YouTube channel. Feel free to subscribe. He's doing a lot of try hack me. I think he did a little bit of Hack the Box, and he covers some of the cybersecurity topics that also happens, like hacks and things. So check out his content. Free Zone Loose at Fire for sure. Same as me. What's good? Keep it techie. Welcome, man.
What's up, Ted?
Hey.
You on mute,
you're
man.
muted.
What's going on? What's up, y'all? Sorry about that.
Yeah, not too much.
No, you good, man. I
Just
saw
hit
the
the chat
game was
really.
on, so I jumped on.
Yeah,
For
man.
sure.
Definitely appreciate you guys for being here for sure. I'm hitting the chat really quickly. We can get back into it. Before the Billion says, yes, I can vouch for Gabe. Help me out anytime, man. Anytime. And if you find other roles that you're looking to apply to, let me know before the Billions, and I can refer you to them again. Casual economist. This is what I wanted to show. Asking for websites that are very helpful for common attacks. And Professor Backhouse probably know what's this. MITRE attack framework.
We just said it earlier. Go ahead. You said it
MITRE
earlier.
attack framework. It looked like a big old, I don't know, just a spreadsheet. But this is the best place to go if you're looking for what common attacks the bad guys are using. So it kind of goes over kind of the attack, what you call the attack. What is that? Attack framework or attack
Vectors?
Progression?
Okay,
Yeah,
well, vectors, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Well, it starts with reconnaissance, resource development, initial access, execution, persistence, privilege escalation, defense. So it kind of goes into all these different categories of things that bad guys do, and you can go deeper into it. So, say for instance, you're looking at reconnaissance for what bad guys do and active scanning. So it'll go into a full description of what this is. And it'll even get into some different tools and things that it's seeing. So yeah, this is a great place to go. I'm gonna take this and throw this in the chat for MITRE attack framework for places to go to look for common attacks.
My only little pushback with that is, and I love MITRE is, and I'm pushing back on Gabe on this. MITRE gives you too much information, but you can get overwhelmed.
It does. It can't give you a lot. Yeah,
I would start with OWASP, but I'm an application guy too.
Yeah.
So for my application purple team, I usually start with OWASP. And if you do, Verizon does their top 20, and I think that's a little more introductory. MITRE, you gotta have a little weight on you. That's just what's your thoughts on that game?
A bit. It's a bit. It can get a bit heavy there. Yeah, no, it's true. I definitely agree with you. Yeah. AO said the same thing for the MITRE website. Wire Dog said, y'all be sure to hit the like button, the notification bell. Absolutely. Akin says that I'm not trying to super technical, to be honest. I need to make a switch in the channel to get subscriber notifications at all times. Yeah. Feel free, man. Definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, stay on that GRC if you want to stay. And the other thing too is, and it's because programmers, Gabe's not like that. I'm kind of like that. Is a lot of programmers and technical people do not like talking to people and do not like get focused. So there's project management, the PMP. If you get that, get 6 figures. Product owners are real big if you don't get technical. So that whole sector, along with GRC, I think is a non-technical way to get paid in cybersecurity and in tech.
Absolutely.
I don't like managing people and running meetings, so they're excellent like that. I can just do my thing and people can leave me alone. So once again, project management, product owner, GRC, and auditing is a kind of a non-technical way to get into technology and cybersecurity. And PMPs, I get mad at them. They make 6 figure. They ask me what the security requirements are. Then I give them to me, and then they tell me to come back and tell me to hurry up. So
that's funny. Now I was gonna throw this one to keep it techie. Because I know that he's done several videos on it. I have not touched the Cali Purple. I'm not ready really because I'm doing stuff now, and I'm like, I don't got time to be just learning a whole new operating system right now. But keep it techie. What has been your impression about the Cali Purple, or have you dug into some of the tools and techniques? What you think about it?
I've dug into it a little bit. It's mainly just it's exactly like the other Kali Linux. It's just focused on defensive tools. And some of these tools are included in the normal Kali Linux, like AMAS, what I asked you about the other day. And a lot of those Wireshark is in there as well. But it's a lot of tools, but they focus in on defense 100%. And also what's that framework that they use? It's like 5 steps. I can't remember. what's the name of it?
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's like 5 different
what's it used for?
5 different areas of defense. I can't remember what
Pickerel.
it's called.
Pickerel. Is it called Pickerel?
No, CIS or something. I don't know, man. I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, it's the 5 areas in this identify.
Yeah, Pickerel. It's like the 5 steps for incident response. I think it's like here. I'm just listen. I Google everything. I don't remember nothing.
And I started
preparation
to see.
Is it preparation, identification, containment, eradication, recovery, and lessons learned? Okay.
And so it has each one of those areas in Cali Purple and all the tools that are associated with each one of those areas of
I didn't know that.
Protecting. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
I ain't looked at it at all.
That's a minute. Yeah. Okay, because we use Pickerel all the time in like incident response, right? The preparation, identification, containment, eradication, recovery, and lessons learned. So it divides it up and it has tools for each one of those. That's what's up. That's what's up. I didn't know that. I might have to dig into it soon, man. I might have to dig into that thing soon.
Man, I ain't got enough time.
I'm still using Security Onion from time to time. So, okay. A couple of more that I want to hit on before we jump into the next subject. Did you catch the early piece, Keep It Techie, about the prioritizing things? And I was kind of going in a little bit. All right, good. It's not important. We talk about regex. Yeah, at first I didn't like regex, but I found the effectiveness of it. Like regex is really, really, really effective. It's starting to get dark here.
So Gay, what is it called again? Because like I see the name, and maybe this is the same thing, but you just calling it something different. But the NIST CSF, cybersecurity framework.
That's Professor Black Ops.
That's different. That's different. What Gabe's talking about. That's more auditing and compliance. Gabe's talking about the locking down of that.
Well, that's the areas on Purple Linux. It's identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. That's a cybersecurity framework for or NIST. That's what they use in Purple. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
The crazy thing is, I was doing regex inside of an Oracle database in 2005. So that's how long I've been seeing regex, because we were running flat files, and you can run through Oracle database. So they wanted you to have regular expression powers.
Right. Absolutely. I'm just going over a couple of things, and not only the MITRE ATT&CK framework, but like Wiredog's mission, the MITRE Defend, that helps you defend against some of those common attacks too. Which is dope. Oh, you put the link in there. Perfect. Thanks for that, man. Definitely appreciate it. It says great info. Everybody enjoying it. Everybody sub it. Instant response. For cybersecurity college graduate, do you recommend Security Plus or CCNA certification for my first? I say go for Security Plus. I say go for Security Plus.
I would.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. But yeah, go ahead.
We just said network was a basis.
It's important, but if you're really trying to, like, I think that people can get some of like this, like people can get their CCNA paid for after they get that first security job.
No,
I think you can get a job with a Security Plus in security before you can get a job in security with a CCNA. But I don't know.
I agree with that. I guess mine and mine is just slightly different. Is CCNA gives you the networking foundation, because some of those Security Plus questions we are about networking. They're not going to go deep as a CCNA, but I think those skills stack on the other one. Right?
Okay.
So, like I said, not a big, huge deal. I mean, you're right. Security Plus probably get you on the door to get you a job first. I just like the skill stack of networking than security.
Okay. What about you, Keep It Techie? I know that you were like early in your tech career, you were looking more on the networking side, where you're seeing a lot of like, are more roles. Like I've kind of seen a lot of those like early like network administrator type of roles. I'm seeing like cloud. I'm seeing cloud as kind of like a little bit of a replacement for that. Or what have you seen? Are you still seeing a lot of those networking things, or have you not really been looking at that? Yeah.
You're right. They want you to have those networking skills, but they say the cloud in most cases in the jobs that I've seen. You know what I'm saying? And so, but it's still good to have those networking skills, you know, understanding it. And so I agree with PBO where he said Network Plus is he said CCNA, but I would say Network Plus. That'll give you that fundamentals of networking, so you understand how these systems actually talk to each other, and this applies to the cloud as well. So
yeah. And two,
is there a cloud component to Network Plus?
They may have started incorporating a little bit. I haven't looked at the domains recently. They may have started incorporating some cloud, because that's where we are heading. You know what I'm saying? That's where
definitely
our position's heading.
There's definitely a cloud component to CCNA. They did it a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Now it's a cloud component.
I thought it was a separate test though. Oh,
nope.
okay.
It's
all
one
right.
exam. And there's a cloud component to it. And I was like, oh no, man. I'm gonna let this CCNA expire because I ain't about to.
But the weird thing though is, as an AWS guy, when you set up your subnets, you got to understand basic networking. When you set up your subnets, and two is you in different AZs, which is in different data centers, you load balance in between different subnets. So you got to have a basic understanding of networking.
Yeah. I agree. So kind of to the foundation, which I think we're all agreeing that a networking foundation is good. It's like just which one first. I say a security plus, and then you focus on like a CCNA or a network plus. But at the same time, I don't think that you can go wrong with a network plus or CCNA first. I think they're having that kind of combination here.
Once again, when you do security data, you got to understand networking. You got to understand your packets, filtering them, subnets, your subnet range. Because when you do reconnaissance, is that a /24, 32?
Yeah.
Right. So those basic understandings, I think you need those. I'm Kobe Bryant. We need fundamentals. Now I'm just playing.
And Maddox kind of cleared that up for us too. He says not yet for Network Plus on cloud, not yet. But I know that there is a Cloud Plus too. So the cloud is not on Network Plus yet. So thanks for that clarification. But I kind of wanted to get to the next one. I want to get you all's opinions, because we're talking about maximizing your tech impact. And the next one I have scrolling across the bottom is a lot. The one I think is aligning your tech goals with your business needs. Aligning your tech goals with businesses. What kind of comes to mind when you all think about that? What do y'all think?
Oh, I guess I always go first. I'm the oldest. When you get in, especially as a consultant, and you get at different levels, we all been in the game a little time, is the higher you get up, the less technology you talk about. I talk to CIOs and CISOs. They don't give a shit if it's Linux or what's the risk, how much it's going to cost me, and how long it's going to take. Right. So as you go, now when you like, I've been a DBA, I've been a network. When it comes down to you, it's like, okay, we need to get this done. This is a finding. We can get fine rights money. Then you get it. But when you're talking business-wise, it's money, and the technology feeds in that. Because if the fix costs more than the system, you can accept that risk and do nothing, right? Yeah. So from a business perspective, right? Now, for your personal is what makes the most money? I'm trying to be cloud and security. Impact on my pocket is I need to get those skills and those certs, right? So there's me as a business and the business as a business, right? So those are two things. So I want to make sure those separately. PBO is fat and like to eat, so I need to make sure I have the most impact on my pocket. I'm throwing it to keep it techy.
All right.
And so my thoughts, glad you touched on that, PBO, but I was going to hit on the lower level guys that are just getting into the field. What I look at is diversifying your skill set. When it comes to this question, aligning your tech goals, meaning where you're trying to go, within the tech industry, you need to focus in on getting the training and the skills that will help you reach that goal. And that aligns with that ties to the needs of whatever businesses or companies or industries that you're planning on getting into as well. So I don't know.
I'm right there with you. The thing that really came out when you were speaking was that prioritizing the skills, right? Because I think that, and kind of I wrote down a little bit, is that it's cool to tech it up all the time, right? It's cool to do all the labs and do all the tech things, but at times, if it's not really aligning to anything that you're doing within a business context, then you can find yourself, kind of having a lot of skills that aren't really vetting you a lot of results, if that makes sense. And that kind of reminded me of this when I'm talking about people who are not really aligning themselves with really their tech skills, but they're aligning themselves with more of like content creation, if that makes sense. Here, let me show it. It reminded me of this like trend in TikTok, because sometimes you might see these people who are like, oh yeah, I'm a software engineer and this and that, but at the same time, they might be having some issues when it concerns these tech layoffs. And this guy, I don't know who this guy is, but I just thought this video was kind of funny. So we'll look at a couple of minutes and we'll get some reactions from y'all. Let's see.
So I literally know nothing about TikTok. Okay.
Can you all hear this?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
This is everything I think TikTok is about.
I have my finger in a lot of different tech.
Of a 21-year-old. Here we go. Day in the life of a 21-year-old.
To make those rainbows in my mind when I think of you sometime, and I want to spend some time with.
Oh my goodness, what have I done? 84,000 likes of a guy bragging on everybody else. Yeah, you know, I get free breakfast. Here, I make $40,000 a month. I'm gonna do some features for 50 million users in VS Code while I talk. That's gracious, Benawad.
If you had world in either Python or Java, depending on if you like it rough, and then slowly ease into the basic data structures like strings, booleans, ints. We learn about if statements and then for loops. Maybe take some user input, build a little calculator, and then we'd finish on FizzBuzz. But if your stamina permitted, maybe we can sneak in some Fibonacci sequences.
That was pretty good.
Okay. Anyway. I don't think I like where this is going, but I'm sure that you all have seen this kind of trend in TikTok videos where people are like, you know, I'm just living the soft tech life, right? I'm going from this cafe to that cafe. I was watching something recently. Somebody was just showing like the cafes and their walk to work, and they're like, this is the tech life, right? And I'm like, what are you displaying here? What are you showing as it concerns how you it has nothing to do with their tech business, nothing to do with tech skills whatsoever. And I think that we can get a misconception from these individuals about what the tech life really is. And I think that there needs to be some level of a grind where you're like, okay, I need to be showing what it's really like. I don't think that what they're saying is really what it is really like. Hopefully a lot of that makes sense, but feel free to react however you want to react. I'm gonna look at my notes.
Nah, you're right. Let me hop in there right past PBO.
Yeah.
But nah, it's almost like an infomercial, you know, like for these scam products out here that you see everywhere. That's kind of what these videos nowadays, a lot of them that are starting to come out, the day in the life of this, day in the life of that. It's almost like they're not really putting out the actual work that you have to do in order to get into these positions and maintain these positions. It's all about the clout, so to speak, or just I don't know, just trying to gain clout. I don't know, by putting this out, and it's almost like an infomercial. That's the way I see it, to monetize it.
I can see that. What were you gonna say, PPO?
No, I think both of y'all right, but I'm old, but I think that's the under 30 crowd. We want to be cool. We want to dress up. We want to, like you said, it's like a Benz commercial. I just show up to work and the Benz magically drives quick.
Yeah.
I don't have to work. I make a lot of money, right? I can wear my pants too tight and flood. Nah, shout out to the millennials. But
so you think it's more of a commercial type of thing more than like a real view into it.
Because that's what people like to see, and that's gonna get you the most views. Don't nobody want to see you struggling and sweating, Gabe, and working on your regular expression, and it ain't working.
But you know that can
they want to see what you eat. Go ahead.
But like, can't that give a misconception though? Like, people cannot really understand what it's really like, and they might not know, like, hey, you know, this is a business. Like, your tech stuff has a dollar amount associated with it. Like, you just on the rooftop chilling and eating at this restaurant and that restaurant, it doesn't really show what you're really doing. It doesn't really show your value to that organization and your impact to that organization. Now, I'm not saying you got to just show the struggle all the time. Shout out to Struggle Security. You don't got to show the struggle. You don't got to show the struggle all the time, but you got to be a little realistic. It can't just be walking for coffee and lattes with your friends and going to the after work events and hitting the gym. That's not really the reality. And I don't know if y'all have had that experience, but that's not what I've seen in the tech.
Yeah, me neither. But yeah, let me ask you this though. Yeah. So, is that would that be considered a way of making, you know how we've had these conversations where we were talking about making tech cool? Is that a way of making it cool? You know what I'm saying? Or trendy? And I'm only asking just to get your thoughts.
No. I'm gonna answer it with something else I'm about to share, which is kind of aligned with the same thing that we talking about. Is this cool? How about this? How about this? How about this? What that look like? Is this cool? 19,000 jobs, right? 19,000 jobs, layoffs with a major. So this is my organization, essential to cut 19,000 jobs as IT spending slows, right? So people out here TikTok and making tech cool, but at the same time, people get laid off. In the tech industry, it's been what hundreds of thousands of jobs, people being laid off since what? The last September, November. So I get it, right? Content creation, making tech cool, trying to get people to really get into it. But when these people are unemployed because they've been working on some fringe application that nobody ever is going to use because they're not creating any impact within the organization and finding the business needs of what they're doing, then it don't become cool when they unemployed. It don't become cool.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to hear from you, Gabe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to show this really quickly. Tech layoff, right? I don't know if you've seen how many videos people have put up of like, I got laid off might be better. I got laid off.
And one girl had me damn near crying. She was,
and
I was like, oh God.
Look at this. Google lays off. These are shorts. This is somebody I got laid off from my tech job one month ago. This guy's roasted. He said a lazy girl got laid off, but a lot of people right now are still loading up. But if you see the number of videos that people have been putting out about them getting laid off, I got laid off first day tech layoffs 2 months ago. I got laid off experiencing my first. I mean, there's just a massive amount of videos of people who have gotten laid off from these tech jobs who have been trying to make tech cool. They've been trying to make it cool, but they have not been understanding what their value and their impact to those organizations are. Kind of wanted to go. Oh, sorry. Let me share one more time. Any comments as I'm bringing this back up?
Well, for me though, I think, and we talked about that, is to get people like keep it technical, to get people in there, right? They make it seem cool. I call it boomerang for the old people, right? Everybody shows up in the office in a suit, everybody looking good. You running with your briefcase through the rain, right? You write 3 lines of code, and you make. One black girl was making $190,000 as a recruiter and got laid off in 6 months. She was smart though. She's like, I wasn't even recruiting anybody. So she's like, I saw him coming. She was trying to make it for a year. So
absolutely.
And two is just a slight tangent of that is I've been a consultant. Everybody's been a consultant. Is you need to figure out when the ship is sinking. Most people, I left a lot of jobs and they were like, why did you leave? I'm like, this project is over. I mean, I can see it coming. You can see the requirements not there, features aren't there. People aren't getting renewed. And it's funny because I'm not bragging. I was in the top 10%. They're like, well, we want you to stay. I'm thinking, I am out of here because I've seen the writing on the wall. So as a consultant, there's a term called a death march where people know the project's going to end, but the big companies are milking the government and big companies. So they just know in 3 years, I was on a project, true story. I said, what you designing cannot work. They go, we know, but they paying us to do it.
That's it. Right. Because what's the impact of that after that project is over? If they find that it's not like anything that would really impact their business operations, it's not really a value add, they're going to evaluate that. They're going to look at an evaluation. They'll be like,
but you work for a big company. Thanks. If you can make 10 million before it blows up, right? You know, okay, we're going to need to put these dudes on another project, but we're going to ride this boat on down to the bottom of the ocean because everybody's eating on it.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And, you know, I kind of wanted to bring this particular thing up because, like I mentioned, it says that 19,000 jobs. Now, we're an IT consulting firm, right? And 19,000 jobs are being let go. So 19,000 jobs, it says 2.5% of the workforce over the next 18 months, right? It's a cost slashing, right? Because everybody is cost slashing during this time. They think everybody is going to like the economy is going down, so they're anticipating this. Now, some things I want to bring up here. Let's see. The company which offers IT consulting, corporate services. Let's see. So it said that Thursday, filing the most employees expected to be affected will be. What does this mean exactly? What do you think the non-billable corporate roles? Tell me what you all think.
I mean, it's not billable to the actual organization. It's billable to the government or the person that's hiring it, or
other
maybe
way around. Other way around.
Yeah.
Those people aren't billing customers. Those are support people.
So there we go.
Secretaries, HR.
I get it. Yeah.
Secretary, HR, recruiting, marketing, right? People who are in operations, right?
Got you.
That's who they're laying. That's who these 19,000 people are. So, right, the business needs to do cost cutting. Who's going? The people who are not making money. Now, if you're billable to a customer, that's directly making money for your organization. So, kind of, I don't mean to bring it down to this level, but think about somebody who is like in the mob or who work on the streets, right, selling some type of illegal substance. The people who are on the street who have the product in their hands and they're going to sell it to the customers and they're getting money, those are the billable people. But the people who are a bit more, I guess, replaceable might be like the lookout guy. That's like an operations person or a person who might, I don't know, fill the cars up with gas or something. That's like a non-billable person. And these are the people getting axed. So the major operations, the people who are billable. So back to the point about aligning your tech goals or aligning your tech skill sets to business needs, you got to be making your company money in order to survive in a lot of these type of environments, especially in consulting. You got to be making your company money. And that was the major point I want to bring out there. Do y'all have anything to add there? Or
and the other thing too is, and I did a video on this, is if you're not marketable and you're on the bench more than 2 months, you're gonna get fired. So you need to make sure your skills are wanted by their client. But you can have skills. I was at a company that was small. I had nice skills, but their marketing sales team couldn't sell it. Because I do federal compliance. They were so small, they would go to people like Accenture because they really want a bigger bench.
Right.
The company hired me because I used to work for another company, so they picked me up, right? So if you're on the bench longer than 2 months, you're going to be fired unless you work for Accenture on a bit. They might keep you, but if you're a mid-level company, if you're on a bench longer than 2 months, meaning they can't put your skills with a client and get billable and get paid, you will be fired. Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Even Defray say his friend in Cali just got laid off recently. I'm not saying that person is invaluable or something, but a lot of these employment cutting are for individuals who a lot of times are not contributing to the bottom line of the business, and that's revenue generation. I know how to Wolf. I know I said I was going to cover the Blue Team level 1 cert. I signed up for an account. They have some free stuff, but they also have some paid stuff. But at the same time, I'm doing a SANS course, like the SANS, what is it called? FOR 508. So I'm really got to prioritize that. But I am going to still do a review on that certification. Just wanted to catch up with the chat for a second before we jump over to the next one.
Read that.
What did he say? Tech isn't cool. Tech is stressful. It ain't all rose tinted glasses. Jump into tech, more like jump out of tech. No, man. Well, it depends. It depends. What y'all think? What y'all think about that?
I'll go because I moved. That's one reason actually I got out of software development. I was getting PSTD because when you put stuff in production, I'm sure Keeping Tech you can talk about. When you break production and it's down and and they used to getting $100,000 a day, everybody's staring at you. I'm like, it worked in development, so now I'm scrambling. I got the boss helping me, or I became that dude. They'd be like, go help the Indian team. I'm like, dude, I didn't even write this code. They like, go. So they can be stressful, but on the other side, I got banked because with that stress, you are the man and you get paid like the man. But shout out to that. I got tired of it. I went over to GRC for a little while. I think I'm gonna go back to engineering, but no, it can be stressful depending on where you at. But most of the times you get paid for that stress.
And you're right. It depends on the organization. At the end of the day, some places are very less stressful. Like especially in like the government in a lot of cases, in my opinion. And this is based on my experience, so I'm not discounting anybody else's experience, but things move slow in the government. And but when things need to be up, they need to get back up. You know what I'm saying? So there is that stress, but it's not a constant, stressful situation, depending on, and like I said, the organization. It depends on.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, right? You can look at it and say, hey, this is very stressful. Maybe you chose a very stressful organization, very stressful environment. I mean, there are a lot of organizations that are still hiring. I would say even to do an evaluation to say, hey, if I'm stressed out all the time, maybe I need to go somewhere else. Maybe I need to take my skill sets and my abilities somewhere different to a different place. So that's also part of that evaluation.
Yeah, but too, it could be on the other side is you're stressed because you don't have the proper skill set to do your job. I see a lot of people like, dude, you don't know shit about SQL. Why you trying to do SQL, man? Let me help you, young fellas. Let me let me give you a union, do a view. Because when you've been in the game for 2 years, you learn tips and tricks that can help you. But when you new, and two is sometimes your structure's not right. Yeah. When I go to big companies like Gabe, they got junior, mid-level, senior, so you got help. I work on a small company where I'm the only dude out there, so it's like I'm calling people I know, right? So like, keep it techie, the structure of the company, right?
That was one of my main reasons for leaving like a smaller consulting firm, because it was so small, and every time something happened, it was all on me. If I'm starting an engagement, if they put me on to something because I was senior, because I've done so much of that type of engagement before, then it's like, they're like, oh yeah, he got it. But then I'm dealing with, like, I'm traveling all crazy during COVID and driving everywhere because I'm like, I really don't want to be in no planes right now. I'm dealing with scope creep and the customer wanting more than what we even signed up for in the scope. And again, I'm dealing with all this by myself. Just like PBO mentioned, when you have a larger organization, you have so much more support. If stuff go crazy for me, I can go to my executives and they'll go ahead and deal with that situation. I'm like, yo, this is scope creep. This is this is that. Send that email. They'll schedule a meeting with the other leaders. They'll schedule a meeting with the customer to say, hey, this is what we're going to do. You're not going to get more. So you have a lot more support within larger organizations. Yeah.
And then also, let me just say this one more thing. As far as stress, when you're in a less stressful position, this is the perfect opportunity for you to keep skilling up. Yeah. If you don't have if you have the time, I mean, look at Gabe. He said, I mean, I'm sure he's in a less stressful situation. You know what I'm saying? So now he's taking that he's taking that next SAN cert. You know what I'm saying? He's getting some more skills under his belt. And
I shouldn't have said nothing, man, because that's just they just throw them at you. If you say, hey, I got SAN certs, yeah, sure, here, type of thing. So, but yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, nah, you good. You good. That was it. That's all I had to say.
Yeah, skill up. With the less stress, the more you should skill up. Yeah, to be honest, software. He says, to be honest, in software engineering, if the clients didn't want changes, additions mid-project, the project would have been done a lot quicker. Okay, so you're dealing with project stressors. Okay,
yeah, I'm cool with that, because to me that your management should say, and Gabe knows they charge for that when you be stuff out of scope and addition. So to me, that's just more requirements they're gonna put it in the end. And if your boss is letting them squeeze them in there, you got to tell them, dude, you got to move the timeline a little right, man. You got to work with it.
Yeah.
But I'm question a little old, so I be talking crazy. Go ahead.
I was going to say, question here for y'all. Are there any entry-level, like, government tech jobs? Yeah. And what are some of the calls? Okay. Because I'm not that informed of those. Would you just go to USA.jobs or USA.gov?
And I'm going to go first because keep it techie. Damn, I'm tired. My fault. Keep it techie. Especially if you ex-military, they're gonna want to get you in and train you. I've trained a lot of ex-military guys, which I don't have a problem with, because since it's a government base, they give them extra points and they're gonna get hired on the project first. So I was cool with them. They'd be like, "This guy new, train him, Hightower." I'm like, "Okay, I'll train him. PBO will train him," because that's part of my job. So if you have a military background. Or two is you need to know somebody, because a lot of entry-level jobs go pretty quick because they got military, somebody nephew in there, somebody brother. I'm gonna let you
and I'll bring up a little more. PBO is on point with it, but security clearances. That's why they look at vets in most cases. A lot of times when you're working on government installations, and they have facilities inside of the base, you know what I'm saying, that not everybody has access to. But if you had that clearance, you know what I'm saying, you can get in those doors to get those positions. Like yeah, it's plenty of work in the government, especially if you're a veteran. And when you're not a veteran, it all depends on the scope of the work. They'll do an interim, which is basically you can call it a paper clearance, you know, until you actually get the clearance. They'll submit you for the clearance at that point. So civilians can apply for these jobs. Yeah, you won't get the preference that veterans will, but you can get those positions if you have the skills behind you in order to get them. And they'll vet you and get you. They'll say, oh, you need, in 6 months we need to have this clearance, or a year.
I've seen that.
Take a while.
But I've definitely seen that on job descriptions.
And the other part of that, adding on to keep it tech, adding on to mine is when I got in government, I worked for a mid-level consulting company. I did Oracle, was a high skill, so they paid for my clearance. I had to work for them for 2 years, but they paid for my clearance because I had the skill set. So a lot of times, if you work for a consulting company, they eat well on the government. So they have those government contracts and they go find people.
Absolutely. Right. And I'm thinking of something that just comes to mind. I just Google a little list like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, BAE Systems, Leidos, SAIC, Jacobs, GSK. I mean, there's so many that does government contracting. And those are those consulting firms that PBO was talking about, where they'll be able to fund some of your clearances. So and
just so you guys know, I've worked for a couple of those government contracts.
Say that too.
That just name. I actually worked on and I'm not doxing myself because I work for a subcontractor, but
that's why
I work for Leidos. Essentially. And that was one of the ones on that list. So
I worked for Lockheed. I was a sub for Lockheed, BAA, Capgemini. The cool thing is a lot of times is in Gabe and keep it tech, you know, when you work for a sub, the prime will lose the contract because they got outbid, and they'll come and pick up all the subs. They'll try to cut your money, but they pick up all the subs because they outbid. So I probably worked for 6 out of those 8 companies because Lockheed lost it, Capgemini got it, then Khaki got it. So then, but 2 is, we talk about this, is go talk to the project manager, because even when they leave, you still have those contacts. So I got people at Capgemini, BAA, Khaki, because those primes lose it and those other primes pick it up. And those are your ways to get in other companies and to make your networking. Shout out to Kev Tech. He's the master LinkedIn networker. I'm going to give him a shout out.
Man, Kev Tech go crazy on LinkedIn, Facebook. Well, not Facebook, but LinkedIn. I think he's on
Twitter as well.
You name it.
LinkedIn. Hey, with me and Keith, he always sharing me or liking me or something.
He don't sleep.
I know.
I'm convinced he don't sleep, or he got a twin or something that just keep posting for him. He go hard all day, all night long on social media platforms. But the last one I want to go over was, we looked at several things. We looked at the first one we talked about was prioritization. I kind of brought that up with the story I brought up. Keep it taking. You don't got to worry about the story. Don't worry about the story I brought up. But prioritization was the first one. The second one I talked about is you need to look at where you're at and be able to evaluate where your gaps are. We looked at a couple LinkedIn posts to try to understand what some of the gaps were for like some of these dream jobs. The third one we looked at was the business impact. If you just trying to just be technical, but not looking at how it aligns with your business needs, then that can put you in a situation where, you know, these 20, 50, 40,000 tech workers are being laid off. But this one is measuring where you are. And I think that's important because, and this is kind of in reference to the person we was talking about before, that I brought up before, that keep it taking on even know.
Okay.
Is that if you're the same place you was last year or the year or 2 years ago, and you measure your progress and your progress is 0, then you got a problem. If you're not measuring, say, okay, now I've come to this level. Now I got to go to this next level. Now I go to this next level. If you're not keeping track of that in any way, shape, or form, then I think that will hinder your progress in where you're trying to go and impact in your tech career. But what do you all say? What do you all think? Because I think that there's a lot of people who are the same place they were before. But yeah, go ahead, keep it techie.
My thoughts is similar to how I tell people to get into tech. Look at where you're trying to go and then work your way back from there. And when I say work your way back from your goal that you're trying to reach, you need to set dates. You need to set targets that you want to hit by specific dates. And okay, don't worry about it if you off by 2 weeks, you off by 3 weeks. You're still making progress towards your final goal. And so that just sums it up in a nutshell. That's what you need to do. You need to track everything you're doing, and you can evaluate your progress from there and reach your goal effectively.
Yeah. I see a lot of times people will go in, and there's nothing wrong with certs, but I feel like it's the same thing with degrees at times where I see it. People will go and get 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degrees, or go get 1 cert, 2 cert, 3 cert, and they don't have any direction for that. And they're like, well, I'm still here in the same role, in the same job, doing the same thing. But I got all the certs. I got all the degrees. I should be somewhere different. I should be director there, right? But they're not even really measuring what their progress is. They're utilizing certs and some type of, I don't know, credentialing in order to measure their progress. So I think that even if people are measuring their progress, you got to measure it effectively. You got to have effective ways to measure your progress. So, yeah, y'all want to throw that in there, but what were you going to say, PBO? I saw you came off mute.
Yeah, and I think you're right. The question is, and you brought it up, is how are you measuring yourself? Are you measuring yourself with certain degrees? Are you measuring yourself on dollar amount? Are you measuring yourself on title, right, and power, right? So I think how are you measuring yourself, right? Maybe people like certs, but like you said, that's progress, but is that progress towards your career and your movement, right? Yeah. So I think
how do you measure yourself, PBO? How do you measure your progress? Yeah.
It's different as I get older. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I measured it on money.
Okay.
When I got above 30, I kind of measured it on titles and how big my department was. Till I got a shitty team and I got out of that. Now I measure myself more. I'm getting more really kind of where you get life balance. I'm like, I'm 50, man. I done made 6 figures for 13, 15 years, man. I'm old. I'm divorced. Don't nobody want me. My kid grown. So I'm about to go to Vegas and make it rain, right? I'm about to get in a midlife crisis, right? But that's what you got to figure out how you measure yourself, right? I'm really at the top, going back down, trying to get a retirement. Because let's be realistic, and that's what we talk about. I'm 55. Are you gonna pay me $200 or get 100 guys that can work 18 hours a day and drink Mountain Dew? I ain't doing that shit no more. I did that. I did that shit in 95, right? So So me being realistic is, what is my life balance? I'm trying to get a little more real estate so I can retire. So I'm more life balance. I came here to help people, right? So I want to assist people to get in the game. So my measurement now, because I think I'll be 56. I got to count it up. I'm so old. So my measure's a little different. Once again, when I'm in my 30s, it was about dollars, because I'm trying to make 6 figures in 95 when that was super rare, right? Shout out to Black Heights and Tam. They said 100,000 ain't no more money, ain't money no more, man. They be hurting my little feelings.
Come on, man. But that's cap, man. But go ahead.
But real quickly, you brought it up, is how do you measure yourself for yourself in real life, right? I always my mother used to tell me, a man who fools himself is in bad shape. So I try to be realistic, right?
Yeah. So I'm kind of a little bit of several of yours, but I'm using some other things too. So one is definitely income, right? I'm not going anywhere unless I'm getting paid more. First of all, right? I'm not doing any lateral movements. I'm not looking at lateral title movements either. Like either I'm doing like senior manager or above. Now that's one of my measures, right? Titles and compensation. But at the same time, I'm like, where I'm at, I need to be impactful at my current level. So I'm looking at not only like the work that I do for delivery, but I'm like, how can I give my customers that I work with, more bang for their buck? How can I really help them with their really integral and the cybersecurity problems that keep them up at night? I'm also looking at developing people, right? Doing training activities internal to the organization and making sure that, hey, I'm able to present a career pathway where I'm able to support my people as they're moving up and they're growing. And then I'm also like looking at content creation and giving back to people, in free and even some paid type of services coming up. More to come there. But but those are some of the measurements that I'm looking at too. And because certs, I'm like, certs are cool, but I just got too many of them. And I was just like, yo, I'm not even, it doesn't add any more of an iota other than my thought process. I'm like, oh, okay, I never considered that before. But yeah, man. How about you, Keep It Techie? We just talk about how we measuring ourselves. Yeah, go ahead.
Nah, I basically do this. Well, I do the same thing PBO is talking about currently now. I'm in my 30s. I'm trying to get that bag. I'm trying to get it however I can get it, man. You know what I'm saying? And so that's really how I measure myself. And also just keeping up with upcoming technologies. As long as I'm steady learning things, learning new things, learning new technologies that are coming out, I look at it as a success. Like, for instance, like I've been doing Linux for years, but I never looked into, since I've been doing it for years, I never looked at it like, oh, I need to get a cert. Well, I mean, I just got the CompTIA Linux Plus certification. I know it's not one of those high level certs that you can get from like Linux, the Linux Foundation or from Red Hat, but I don't work with Red Hat or those production Linux systems every day. So it's no need for me to get that. But hey, I got a certification that validates the skills that I know. And I look at that as a win. And so long as I'm constantly progressing in areas of emerging technology, I look at it as a win. And that's how I manage my progress. Or
that's a big one. I don't want to search shame, but it's just that, like, they could take in like 15 certification exams. Like, I think I got cert fatigue, man. Like, I think I got fatigue at this point because it's just like, I done took maybe 15, 16 certification exams. And some of them have been 3 to 5 hours long a piece. Yeah. And it's just like, yo, I'm trying to do something else now, at least for my own journey. But at the same time, definitely certs are very valuable in that progression in your tech career. So that is a very good measurement too, for sure. And some people are on completely different things. Some people are developing tools to help other cybersecurity professionals. That might be one of their measurements. Some people are into, I don't know, like really deep into like the incident response game. And they're like, listen, I want to do like the biggest incident response engagement in the world. Or some people are like, I want to work for the largest organizations everywhere. Like, people have different measurements. And, you know, I think that just the point here is to, hey, look at where you are, look at where you're going, and measure your progress as you go along. And you can use whatever measures you want to use. We all have shown different ways that we're measuring ourselves. Some similar and some are different. So, you know, that was kind of the point I wanted to bring out there.
One thing I always forgot. I always forget, but content creation. You said that as well, Gabe. Trying to help people, trying to help as many people as I can. You know what I'm saying? And also, you know, grow a community to help get more people into the industry that want to get into it. So just wanted to throw that in there as another thing.
And you're doing it. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, PBO.
Just real quick. And you need to do this on another stream. One of y'all need to do that and I always think about it that I mess up is, as you get older, there's a technical track and a management track, right? And the technical track kind of gets capped at a certain level. I mean, a bigger company after a while is you a technical guy, you got to manage people and have a staff to get to that 300, 400,000. Because those guys with the billable rates, you become a practice manager, right? Those guys manage people. You do less technical and more management. Sometimes I thought I should have stayed on the management track. I could be hiring people myself, but I think we need to talk about that too at another stream.
We should. We definitely should. And just like a little preamble about it, one of the biggest differences I saw was definitely like your compensation structure changes drastically, right? So one thing that happens is that the base salary for individual contributors, right, people who are not like the managers or above, those are the people who your primary income typically is that of your base salary. But for people who are managers, senior managers, directors, executives, it's primarily in bonuses and stock equity.
Options.
And stock options. Yes. So you'll see like somebody's bonus that's a manager or a senior manager, they might get a $50,000-$60,000 bonus annually, right? $50,000-$60,000 bonus annually on top of stock incentives. So like they might get 30, 40, 50,000. They might get $100,000 in stock incentives and still have like $180,000, $200,000 base salary. You know, that's one of the biggest, I guess, compensation differences I've seen. And it's really in your ability to manage people. Sometimes you can even do technical delivery, but managing people and managing projects and like engagement managers, really having a face-to-face and the direct interaction with the customer.
Tech
like
sales is in
it can get real. It can get real.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. I'm like,
too, yeah.
I think I picked the wrong path now.
No,
it's
all good, man.
Yeah, but I think too is, and I think because I'm a little older now, I'm super happy with my path. I'm managing people gave me an ulcer.
Really?
Well, it just depends on the organization. I couldn't, because you know how this sometimes works. When you're a supervisor, those people get hired above you. The boss above you can fire you. But some of those guys was cool with the guy above me, so I couldn't fire. So I'm babysitting them. So I basically told them, you can take these assholes. I'm going back to being a regular contributor, right? But those are some of the things I could have left and went to. I did leave and go to another company. But managing people, tech, and two is, once your skill set, I could go probably managing people and go back and be in engineering, right? Once you keep your skills up, your certs up, and your thing up. But those are things as a person you need to kind of figure out what path you want to take. And when you get there, and two is, you can always switch to one or the other, but you need to kind of figure out which way you want to go.
It's true. That's very, very true. Anything else before we jump off of here? I gotta hop down. Y'all know how I am. I'm not very I don't have a lot of stamina to be leading out streams. I'm more of a viewer. Like I look at a stream and I'm out of there. I look at a stream, I'm out of there. Anything else before we drop off?
No, great stream. You hit a lot of positive topics. Everybody go join everybody. Check out Keep It Techie free course. Check out Struggle Security. And you see it right here. You can do it. It's not this, you can't do it, or this, it can't be done. Everybody up here been in the game for a while and doing it. So let's get at it. Let's go get it. I'm 55 and I'm about to do a couple AWS labs when I get off of here.
That's dope. That's dope. Anything from you, Keep It Techie?
Nah, same thing, man. Hey, great stream. I enjoyed it. Appreciate all you know,
oh man, chill, y'all, man. These are my first super chats, man. That's crazy because I just got monetized. I don't know if I told y'all that. I just got monetized. These are my first super chats, man. I definitely appreciate y'all, man. Definitely appreciate y'all.
You've contributed over on my stream, so I gotta, pay it forward and support you as well, bro. Nah,
appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right,
appreciate y'all for coming through. Yeah, thank you.
All right,
I see y'all later. All right, everybody. This has been Struggle Security, where we are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. We had some great discussions, great people to come through. If you are just seeing this ending, take a look at the playback. Oh, man, and Kicks is throwing it. Thanks, gang, man. Pete, thank you so much. I definitely appreciate it. Ayo and Akin and Gonzo, thank you all for coming through. And we're going to come back. Blue Team Level 1, that's definitely one I want to hit on. I don't know if I'll have the time to really delve into the content, but we'll see. We'll see. But I should be coming back pretty soon for another stream. So stay tuned. And thank you all for coming through. And thank you all for your support. All right. I see everybody later.